A very hearty welcome to Neeraja Ganesh, all amazing speakers, Madhura, Abha, and the lovely participants, and the moderator, Roshni. It's our pleasure and honor to have you, Neeraja, to speak on the life skills for women. You're with us for this 3 days International Symposium Aspire with VTU, and it's really amazing feeling and honor to meet you as well. Um, Over to you, Roshni. You can carry on with your moderation for this entire session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A very warm welcome and good afternoon to one and all. I am so delighted to be a part of this amazing event from VTU in partnership with Aspire for Her. Hi everyone, I am Roshni Shanbaug from VTU Belgavi, pursuing my MBA in Finance and Marketing. I feel very honored and privileged to introduce you to Ms. Neeraja Ganesh, who will be speaking about life skills for women. Neeraja Ganesh is a thought leader associated with reputed training organizations, Inroads Leadership Development and Queenergy Leadership Development. She has served as a Director Relationship at National Education Society of Karnataka, which has 17 institutions under it. National College being one of them, where she works closely with industry veterans to build Industry Academia Connect. She is also a freelance consultant who conducts various training programs and workshops on leadership and behavior. Prior to this role, Neeraja Ganesh's professional experience of 25 years has been in the information technology industry, managing large teams, delivery of IT projects, operational excellence, and customer delight for large banking captives. She decided to switch her career to work in space of gender diversity after having mentored women from diverse experience, ages, groups, industry, and domains to help them grow in their careers. She was heading the Jobs for Her Foundation, which has been set up to bridge the gender gap in the country. Neeraja was awarded a TEDx Women event organized by Dayanand Sagar Institution for her 25 years of achievements in corporate world 2017. She received the Jobs for Her Rising Award in the Women Professional category in 2019 for her contribution to the work of gender diversity. In 2020, she received the Her Rising Award in the Women in Education Society. She has received the Women's Web Orange Flower Award for writing on women at work. We are all very delighted to have you today with us, Neeraja.
Thank
To
you so
all
much.
our one, to all our wonderful viewers watching this event, it is let you know we will be opening a question and answer session at the end. So please be ready with your questions for Neeraja at the end of our talk, as we would love to hear from you. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to Neeraja.
Thank you, Roshni. Thank you, VTU. Thank you, Aspire for Her, for this wonderful platform and the opportunity to talk to one set of audiences that I always love to talk to, the young girls of our country. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be addressing the boys and everybody else who is going to be attending our session today. Let me just bring up my slides. And I have been told that students do not like to see slides, and I can empathize with them because suddenly the year of 2020 has, changed the whole thing for us. Just let me know if you are able to see my screen, and then I will continue my talk. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. So here's 2020, coronavirus, a small thing, transformed life for all of us. But I think the human species did not let it, take us for granted. We decided that we're going to beat it down in our own way. And we also transformed ourselves overnight, especially the education industry. So from young, students going from nursery to students going to the undergraduate, postgraduate courses and beyond, they decided that they will find a way to transform their classrooms into Google Meets. They will find a way to submit their assignments via Google Classrooms. They will find a way to make friends over WhatsApps. They will find a way to replace books with PDFs and PPTs. And what about the tests and the exams that our institutions conduct? So I have seen something really firsthand because I have a daughter who's got into the undergraduate course this year. So as we speak, she is writing her end semester exam. That's what she says. it's not to be called final exam. So I'm just learning new terminologies. And she told me how this is going to happen. So there is going to be an AI-enabled tool. Now, I think, for most of you students, you probably know how this is happening because you're going through it. For us, it was very new. So she told us there is an AI-enabled tool that is going to sit on her laptop and monitor the student who's writing the exam. So what is it going to monitor for? It's going to monitor for sound. It is going to monitor for, any kind of disturbance in the room. And if the student is going to move a little bit here and there, it assumes that the student might be doing some malpractice or there's someone who's come into the room to help the student. So she told us that for the 3 hours that she's going to write the exam, she's going to lock herself in the room. There should not be any noise. Nobody knocks, nobody speaks. And the procedure to submit the paper, right? So you're still going to write it on paper, and then how do you push it into this tool, which is the one which is going to be picked up for evaluation, is to scan that paper using the phone, some scan device that you have on the phone, and then send it to the college email ID, because that's the only thing that can be opened on the laptop. The college email is the only thing which can be opened on the laptop, and the AI is looking, and there is a proctor behind the scene who's going to look at what is happening on the laptop. So push it on the email, and from there, push it into the tool. Now, she also told me that they have given half an hour for them to actually do this whole process of scanning and pushing it into the tool. And she felt that, I don't know what I'm going to do for half an hour, because once I've submitted the PDF, I'm not allowed to get up and walk around. I have to keep staring at the screen. So for half an hour, I think I'm just going to keep staring at the screen. Said, okay, and we wished her all the best. The exam started last Saturday, statistics. We gave her monopoly over the internet. On Saturdays, my husband doesn't work, so he didn't have a need for internet. I had a 4-hour session, but I did it completely on 4G, and I said, you use the broadband and enjoy your exam. 2:30, I was waiting for her to open the door. No news. 2:45, no news. 3 o'clock, and I don't know what to do, right? Because I can't knock, I can't ask. I've been forbidden. At 3 o'clock, I suddenly saw some online presence of hers on WhatsApp. So I messaged her and I said, is the exam over? Will you come for lunch now? A very genuine question, right? The child is sitting from 11:30 to 3, well past lunchtime. And she responds to me, I'm in deep trouble and all you can think about is food. I didn't know what to say. I didn't say anything more. The door opened, she came out, and she said that she thought she was being smart. So there were 5 questions, each of 10 marks. 50-mark paper. Instead of waiting to complete all the answers and do one scan, she decided to scan every answer and push it in. So very smart, kind of outlook she had. So she managed to do it for question 1. She managed to do it for question 2. She did it for question 3. And she was writing question 4 in between. She forgot something. So she moved to question 5. She kept the question 4 paper aside and moved to question 5. As she was answering the 5th one, she remembered what she had forgotten. She went back to the 4th one. Finished that. And then since a little bit of 5 was remaining, she decided that she will scan both 4 and 5 together, which is what she did. And she sent the email. Email never received. She retried. Didn't come through. She tried a 3rd time. And by the time she saw the email on her laptop, it was 30 seconds after the cutoff time to submit it. And they had already been told by the college that after the cutoff time, you can't do anything. There are only 2 options. You be happy with what you've submitted. So in her case, she'd submitted for 30 marks, so whatever she gets out of it. Or within the next 2 hours, she can actually write to the Center for Examination, controller of examination, and say that she wants to withdraw this answer paper and redo the exam. She would be given another chance, and it would be taken as the first attempt. It will not be considered a supplementary or something like that. She came out and she said, I'm going to withdraw it. Not surprising, knowing my daughter. And not surprising for me, if it was 2019 or any year before that, I would have said, of course, I mean, you know the answers completely, go ahead, withdraw, let's write the full thing. But 2020 has taught me something very different. And with due respect to the educational institutions, the faculty and the students here, I told my daughter, what is the guarantee that something will not go wrong the second time you're going to write it? Maybe the internet won't work. Maybe the paper is going to be extremely tough. You didn't know the two answers. And maybe this will repeat once again. So in my recommendation, and you have to watch your words, right, when you speak to your the children, I didn't say do this. I said, in my recommendation, I would suggest that if you will pass this exam with the 30 marks that you have submitted, leave it. First semester doesn't matter. And I walked out from there. It was already 3:30, so she had to make up her mind within an hour. So she came back by 4:30 and she said she checked with all her friends about, what answers they got, and she feels that her answers were correct, so she will pass. And so she had made up her mind that she will not withdraw. So on Sunday, the family sat down to discuss how we can help her if such a thing happened again for the exam on Monday. Right? Again, of course, we were going to give her the complete bandwidth. My husband was going to work on 4G. I said, I'm not even going to work till you finish your exam. We gave her two phones, her own phone and her father's phone. One is on Idea, one is on Geo. Some network will work. She configured her college ID on her phone. And, Hima, you should tell me whether, our logic makes sense. We thought that if the email is sent, it will at least be sitting in sent items if it's taking time for it to come to inbox and all of that. And I told her, if you can indicate in some way, if we can help, we are there to help. She went into the room, locked herself up. 2:30, no news. 2:45, no news. 3 o'clock, she opens the door. What do you think I would have asked her? I have learned my lesson. I did not talk about lunch. And you can't even ask now, did you do the exam well? Because there is no question of doing exam well. The problem is the email. So my question to her was, did you receive your emails today? And she said, at least on Saturday, I got 3. Today, I didn't get any of them. So none of the answers that she scanned went through by email. Now I got nervous and I didn't know what to say next, but then I had to ask. So after a few seconds, I said, so Sneha, does it mean 0 out of 50 for math? And she's a math geek, okay? Asking that question itself was difficult, but she was chilled out. She said, of course not, Ma. I figured a way out. So there was the proctor. I told him, this is not working for me. And I'm going to open up WhatsApp on my screen. It is not allowed. He said no, but I said no, because emails are not working for me. I've already lost in one paper. I cannot lose in another paper. You are anyway going to watch my screen. You will know what I am doing. I'm opening my WhatsApp. And she sent those scanned answers on WhatsApp to me. And I actually saw it, sitting outside. I saw something is coming on my WhatsApp and I asked her, what do you want me to do? And she said, just keep quiet. So I stopped talking on WhatsApp. And she picked it up through WhatsApp on her laptop and submitted it. So the paper's gone through. Now look at this girl, all of 18. As such, examinations are stressful. And this is her first year of college and it is online and it is this AI-enabled thing. And you already have had a problem in the previous paper. And this paper, again, you're struggling. Despite that, she managed to keep her calm. She was resilient. She was quick to think, problem solve, creatively find a solution. She was able to communicate to that person and negotiate her way and got what she wanted. And that is what is a life skill. You might be the subject matter expert, the most knowledgeable of all. In this case, she might have written answers for 50 marks on the paper. But if it didn't go through, then that was of no use. And hence, life skills are as important, if not more, than your technical skills, your domain knowledge, and leadership skills that we all crave to learn. Now, of course, if you do not have SME expertise, subject matter expertise, you have a blank sheet of paper, life skills are not going to help you. But assuming that you have all of that, this is something that you have to be really, really honing on a daily basis. And I've already spoken about some of the life skills with this story. We spoke about problem solving, spoke about communication, creative thinking, decision making. being self-aware, interpersonal skills, being resilient, empathy, and there's many, many more. But today we are going to talk about life skills for women. Not saying that the skills that I'm going to talk about are not necessary for other genders. They are. But the focus here for women is that as we grow in life and on our careers, somewhere we stop focusing on some of these. These take a back seat, or we've not really thought it to be that important or relevant. And hence, I really want to emphasize that all of us need to keep these at the top of our mind and hone all these skills. To start with, the first one is speak up. So when I was finishing, I had finished my graduation, and then I went on to do this, 4-semester course at NIIT. I'm talking about 1992. When NIIT was booming, IT was booming, I had signed up for a 4-semester course. When I was in the 3rd semester, this company called Sonata, it's an IT company, a services company, came to campus, and they wanted to hire some of us for a 3-month contract assignment. So we were all very thrilled, In those days, there was no concept of an internship, none of that. Getting a job, even if it was contract, getting it from such a prestigious organization, even before you had completed your course, was a big thing. I was the only one who had a 4th semester to complete, or everybody else was finishing up with 3 semesters, and there was 1 month of the 3rd semester remaining. So some of them said, we're going to take a break. Let's focus on the 3 months at Sonata. For all you know, if we do well, we'll be absorbed as permanent employees. We can always go back and finish our studies. A few others said just 1 month more, we will manage both work as well as studies. But for me, there was another 4th semester, that was waiting to be finished. And there was no way I could have taken a break from studies, because for me, these resources were very scarce. My parents were looking out for this boy for me and were going to get me married, and that clearly told me that, if the boy says no studies, no working, you're just going to accept it. So there was no way I could have, taken a break. And I didn't want to let go of this opportunity also. So, I was in a dilemma. If I take a break, I don't know whether I will be able to finish the job. If I do not take the job, I don't know if this opportunity will present itself. And the additional thing was that Sonata was working in shifts. So I think, computers were scarce in those days. It was a contract assignment, short term. So they decided to put all of us in shifts. So there were 2 shifts. One was 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Another was 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I, being a girl, they put me in the morning shift. And also because I had my 4th semester classes from 3 to 5 on 3 days of the week, this kind of worked out well. It would have worked out well. But I am talking about 1992, 1993, when we did not have computers at home. So what we used to do, in NIIT, we used to get 6 hours every day, 4 hours of theory and 2 hours of practicals. And I'm sure all of you know that in 2 hours of practicals, you're not going to learn anything. So we used to hang around there looking for spare PCs, see if somebody was absent in somebody else's lab period, or, if a faculty had taken off, then, the lab is not happening. We, use those PCs to practice, or lunchtime, we, go and do some work, especially the projects. We would be getting only 6 hours to do our projects. These projects used to be like develop a micro database. In 6 hours, what can you do? Nothing. So we used to do the project, like this, and then during those 6 hours, just type up the entire code and compile it and submit it. Now, I wouldn't know when the PC is available on which shift, right? That was my predicament. Classes are still predictable, but when is somebody taking off? Morning shift, evening shift? One doesn't know. I don't know what made me speak up. I was a very meek, timid, shy girl, but I decided, let me go and speak to my manager. And I spoke to her, a nice lady, and I said, this is my problem. I cannot commit to a shift because of this. I didn't know what she was going to do, but I thought, let me speak up. She went back to the management, must have discussed something, and came back to me and she said, we've decided to make an exception for you. We are going to give you a dedicated PC. You can come in whenever you can and go whenever you need to, as long as you finish the work that is assigned to you for the week by the Sunday. Monday you submit it, and it has to be at the same quality standards that every other student is going to keep up to. So we are not making any other exceptions for you. Just that we are going to give you a dedicated PC. Now you figure out how you're going to do the work here as well as manage your NIIT course. And that worked out wonderfully for me. I started, I worked. Of course, you know, the hours were crazy, but I did it. And the contract assignment extended for 9 months. And at the end of 9 months, along with everybody else who had joined, I also became a permanent employee at Sonata. And then I've had this long career of which Roshni just spoke about. And I'm thinking if I had not spoken up that day, I would have either quit from Sonata even before I could have started. And I don't know if I would have had the opportunity after that. Or I would have taken a break from my studies. And I don't know whether I could have gone back to studies. Life would have been different. I can't say whether it would have been better or worse because I've not lived that life. But the life that I've lived now, I'm very happy about it. And hence, my dear girls, and everybody else over here, speak up. Ask for what you need to ask. And what's the worst that can happen? What could have happened? My manager, Suman, would have come back and said, sorry, Neeraja, you make a decision. If you want to work here, you have to work in the shift. You figure it out. And I would have figured something out, right? But at least I asked, I spoke up, and look at the opportunity that it presented to me. So a very important life skill for women. Mostly it's women and girls who do not speak up. The second one, which is also very, very important for us, is negotiation. And the minute we say negotiation, the things people talk about is negotiate for pay, negotiate for bonuses, for promotions, which is important, I'm not denying it. But negotiate for yourself, both at home and at work and across the entire ecosystem. What do I mean by that? So as Roshni said, I finished up 25 years of my corporate career in 2017. And I got this opportunity to head the Jobs for Her Foundation, a not-for-profit organization. It came my way. And I spoke to my husband and I told him that I think I will take up this opportunity. And he said, you really want to take it up? You have absolutely no knowledge of how NGOs work. And after having quit, I had actually picked up a consulting assignment at a startup. So it was a very cushy kind of a thing. I used to work for 4 hours, come home for lunch. Both of us would sit and have lunch together, something that we've never done in the past so many years. And life was good. So he said, why don't we just continue that consulting? And also because we were considering to start construction of our house. So he said, you will have to now put a lot of time and effort and focus on that new house that we are going to build. And the third thing that was happening was, I live in a joint family. So my mother-in-law was just recovering from a very severe viral infection, which had almost, she lost her mobility and she was just recovering from that. So he said there would be days when you might have to, be at home to look after her. So I had a great support system. My sister-in-law had come and looked after my mother-in-law. My husband works from home. But there could be certain days when, he would have had to step out. So then somebody had to be with my mother-in-law and that would have to be me. So he said, with all of this, you think you really have to start, this completely new job? And I told him, see the house, we are still thinking about it. We have to, get these drawings done and then we have to submit it for approvals. That itself is going to take a good 3 months. And then this was the first floor that we were going to build. So people are going to start digging and then build the pillars, raise it to the first floor, and then the walls of the first floor, and then cast the roof. This is going to take another 3 months. So I have a good 6 months before I have to start looking at the house in detail, on an everyday basis. Because it's only when you start doing the interiors, where do you draw your wires, the electric wires, the plumbing and the tiles, is when you need a lot more supervision and a lot more involvement. A good 6 months. And I told him that I can do a lot in the 6 months with regards to the job. And with regards to caring for my mother-in-law, I said, I will definitely speak at the office and buy some flexibility for myself. So I would want you to remember what Sudha Murthy says. The going in position is not that, oh, I'm a woman and hence, come and, help me out. But all I said was there might be a day when I may have to work from home. So I kind of made that known to my boss. And I also told her about this house project and said that maybe in 7 to 8 months time, I may need a little more flexibility to, go and look at the house, how it's progressing. And I knew that we had some timelines for the construction to finish. It was March 2019. So I said, when that finishes, I want a month off to go and settle in the new house. And she was very happy that I brought this up, up front. And she said, one-off days, if you want to work from home to care for your mother-in-law, perfectly fine. Because she knew she could trust me. If I say I worked from home, I worked from home, not for home. Okay. So you also have to ensure that you do not misuse and abuse the privileges that are given to you. And she said, thanks for bringing up the fact that, there is this house project and you will have to, go away on some days off or, time off when you shift. We will see how things progress. And as the time comes, we'll probably find a backup for you or, somebody who can run the show, when you're away for a month. And in April 2019, we finished the group revision of the house, shifted into it. I know every nook and corner of this house, how it has been done. It has been done exactly how I wanted. And the not-for-profit foundation had scaled heights. It had built a brand of its own, and we had been able to create an impact like never before. And my mother-in-law had also recovered and she was back on her feet. And hence, I say negotiate. It's not only for salary. You've got to negotiate for what you want everywhere with everyone. And this is a very important life skill for women. The third most important one for us is time management. There will come a time, so you're all students. I'm not saying that, time management is very easy when you are a student, especially in today's world. It is crazy. But there will come a time when you have, gotten into your job, you kind of finished your probation and 2 years into your career and you're just settling in. And probably that is the time when you start thinking about marriage. 3 years down, you might be thinking of having a baby, and that's when you are, 5 years into the career and, newer things are coming up and you want to kind of put up your hands for leadership positions and things like that. So these two tracks are going to run in parallel for you. As your life progresses, families, grow, is when your career is also going to grow. So you have to know how to manage your time. It's not an option for you to let go of one and say, okay, fine, I will forget family and only look at career, or forget career and only look at family. It doesn't happen. You have to manage both, and you can manage both if you are able to manage time. It is an art. You have to learn it. So when my daughter, in the month of April, she picked up the role of the ambassador for Aspire for her, for her, it was like coming out of prison, because you know how 11th and 12th standard is, right? So suddenly you have all these months and you didn't even know when colleges were reopening. There was even one exam pending for her, but these students had declared it as long time vacation for themselves and had kind of enjoyed themselves. So she had Aspire for her that she was working on. She had her, writing. She had all these Amazon Prime shows that she wanted to watch. She wanted to cook and she wanted to do 100 courses. And I don't know what kind of a life she was living. So after a few weeks, I sat her down and I said that you need to put everything in a calendar, a beautiful tool that Google has designed for us called the Google Calendar. And I said, put everything in that. And it was a lockdown period, right? So we didn't have maids also. So, she used to help me mop the house. So even that would be there on a calendar. She's going to beat me up after this session saying that I'm letting people know of all the things that she did. But I'm not saying that she's the best of time managers now, but there is some semblance of discipline that is there because of this tool. There was another mentee of mine, Brinda, I don't know if she's listening in, who told me that this is the first problem that she has. And I gave her the same suggestion. And 1 month later, she called me and she said, it's such a beautiful suggestion and life has got, really sorted out after that. So learn to manage your time. Most important. Risk appetite. We women, and I'm generalizing, our appetite for taking risks is not as high as it should be. And why so? It is because we always have self-doubt. We don't think that we are ready for something. We want to be 120% ready before we put our hands for something. We want to ensure that we feel good. We feel that we deserve this opportunity before we say, okay, I accept it. Even if somebody were to give it to you on a platter, there is this thing called as imposter syndrome, which is something within us. Of course, there are enough people outside of us who will say you are not good enough. Forget them. But this thing inside us, which continuously tells us you're not good enough. And it tells me today also. I'm not saying that, it will go away. It will never go away. For example, when Madhura said, Neeraja, this is a topic that, I would like you to speak on for this seminar, I happily accept it. And then one fine day when I saw the flyer and I saw Sudha Murthy on it, and I'm saying, Neeraja, what are you doing? You're going to be on the same stage as Sudha Murthy? I think you should just go tell Madhura this is not for me. The imposter within you will keep talking to you like that. And hence, we do not take the risk of looking at something new, something challenging. And hence, we let go of the opportunities. So this is also something that you have to build in yourself. You have to overcome self-doubt. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to make the imposter a friend. And again, say, what is the worst that can happen? Exactly like Hima was saying yesterday. If you picked up an opportunity which nobody else has ever done in the past, there can be only two things that will happen. One is you fail and you learn out of it. And either you or somebody else will find a different way to do it. Or you are successful at it and you'll probably be the forerunner and a trailblazer in that. So build a very high risk appetite for yourselves to grab every opportunity that comes. So there is enough said that women don't get opportunities. And half of it is because of the fact that we don't go and grab these opportunities. We feel we are not ready. But I am going to tell you why wait for opportunities to come your way. Why don't you create your opportunities? And I'm sorry, there's noise on the road. I hope you're still able to listen to me. Create your own opportunities. And how does one create their own opportunities? And again, I will go back to the story of Aspire for Her and all the ambassadors who joined this brilliant organization. So they come for 1 month and they're given dedicated tasks, including my daughter when she joined in the month of April. And that was the first cohort of ambassadors. So I think Madhura was still figuring out what she was going to do with these ambassadors. So every day they would get tasks around, go and, spread the word to 10 of your peers or put out a social media post or, write something. And these ambassadors could have taken it as a task. Okay, fine. You told me to tag 10 people today, speak to 10 people. I'll speak to 10 people and task over. And at the end of 1 month, ambassadorship over, you get a certificate and you finish it. But I've seen these girls go beyond that. Like in the case of my daughter, she saw that there was a lot of social media being used. And she felt that she could probably improvise, kind of give some content and build some strategy for the social media. And she put up her hand for that. And by the time the ambassadorship was over, she had got the role of social media strategist. So I would say she created this opportunity for herself. Again, a very, very critical skill for all of us, but for women especially. The next one that I'm going to tell you is be a curious learner. And this is also something that was spoken about yesterday by all speakers. Sudha Murthy spoke about it, Rumi spoke, Hima spoke, Madhura spoke. You have to be a continuous and curious learner. There is something called as a T-shaped professional. So if you can imagine how the T is drawn, there is a horizontal and there is a vertical. Of course, the subject matter expertise, what we are speaking about, the math or whatever, is the vertical of the T, and you have to hone your subject matter expertise. But you have to build as much diverse skills. The horizontal of the T has to be as broad as you can. And hence, you cannot just be focused on what you want, in terms of a particular career goal. So if you look at my daughter, she is pursuing data science, but she went and did the role of a social media strategist. And I'm sure that has given her immense learning, which is going to be of use, when she even goes and pursues a data science career. So be a lifelong learner, a curious learner, and diverse learning, not just go deep in one thing. It has to be in the shape of a T. My favorite all time, network. People don't understand this term. But it is extremely important for us to understand this. And in the days to come, there is no way out but to build a fantastic network for you to help and grow. What is a network? How do you build a network? It is as simple as building connections with people that you don't know. For example, today there are a bunch of speakers. I'm here, Soundari is there, Madhura is there. So you go and connect with these people. We are all mentors on Aspire for Her. You can find us there, or you can find us on LinkedIn. Drop a text on LinkedIn to say, hey, I heard you, I saw you at this symposium. I would like to remain connected with you. You have established a connection. After establishing that connection, nurture that connection. Build a relationship, a long-time relationship with it. And that only happens when you are able to give something useful to the other person. Eventually, you will see how that network is helping you. So how did I meet Madhura? We both are part of a women's leaders network, and I think on that WhatsApp group I was introduced, and she saw that I had headed the Jobs for Her Foundation. So she said, Neeraja, I would like to speak to you. So we got onto a Zoom call in March this year. And by the end of that call, she had invited me to become a mentor on Aspire for Her. And it was at that call that she found Sneha, and she said, okay, fine, you're going to be an ambassador. And look at what's happened. In December 2020, I have this opportunity to be speaking at the VTU Symposium. And there's plenty that has happened through the months. I have been a mentor. I have mentored girls. I have written for Aspire for Her. I have tried to bring in whatever alliances I could. In some ways, I have been of some use to Madhura and the organization. And some ways, opportunities have also come back to me. So it is extremely important for you to be part of a big and diverse network, but ensure you're contributing to the network in a useful way for it to give you back. And finally, learn to build your personal brand. We women are not very good at, showcasing ourselves, tom-tomming about ourselves, if I may to say that. So when I always talk about personal branding, there is this cartoon that comes into my mind. It is the cartoon of this guy, with long beard who's playing the guitar. And he's saying that I've been playing the guitar for the last 30 years in the basement of my house. I think now somebody will spot me and, take me to a stage where I can play for an audience. My dear girls, nobody is going to spot you. You have to build the brand for yourselves. Your work will speak for yourselves are not the days anymore, because there's so much of competition out there. So you have to find ways to narrate your success stories. Do not minimalize your achievements. Don't let the imposter say, what's the big deal that you have done? You have done a big deal. Whatever it is, small or big, you have to showcase. You have to find opportunities to speak about it and create a brand for yourselves. You should be known as somebody. Your brand has to kind of, proceed before you actually, get into a room or, get onto the stage, online, Zoom, whatever. So in this year of 2020, from April till December, I must have addressed audiences at least 60 to 70 places. Conferences, big, small, meetups, or colleges, other kinds of institutions. And none of them I have approached people for. Either it has come through my network, somebody has referred me, or somebody has seen my online presence, and hence online presence is very, very important. Somebody has seen my online presence and has come to me saying, will you come and speak at our conference? So personal brand goes a very long way. There are many more things that we can speak about, but I thought that let me condense and speak about the top things that we women usually miss out on, do not think important enough, or we kind of lose track of these, and then we are in a big soup, and then we say that we've already lost the bus. So in closing, this is something that I would like to quote Indira Nui. And I also want to say that whatever I spoke about, I also write about it. If you go to Aspire for Her page, you will find articles titled Neerspires. That's what I write under. You will find more material on all of that. And I'm giving you, a clue that my December New Inspires is going to be something around this. Never hide what makes you, you. So chase your dreams, not somebody else's. And your dream could be, simple. It doesn't have to be, kind of beating up your peers or, going beyond what somebody else has achieved. As long as it is your aspiration, it is your dream. Do it and do it in your way. For sure, you're going to be successful. Would love to be in touch with you. I'm available on LinkedIn. I'm available on Aspire for Her. Please go ahead and read some of the articles that I have written under Inspires. And I will hand it over to Roshni for any questions that the audience may have now.
Thank you, Neeraja. You have shared some wonderful and inspiring insights, and I'm sure all of us enjoyed listening to you. To all of our viewers, we had a great participation from the audience, and we have received many questions, but due to time limitation, we'll be taking up on top 2 only today. I will read out the audience question for you, Neeraja.
Sure.
In a professional career and a juggle of a life, how can one find a balance? Kindly share your insight.
So yeah, it is, going back to the same thing that I spoke about, right? In some ways, managing your time. The tracks are going to run in parallel. Your life, your home, your family is going to run in parallel with your career. And the only way to manage this is to be extremely efficient with your time. And when I talk about time management, the first thing that I say is ensure that you have your priorities set for yourselves. Though it sounds very simple, everybody will say, of course, I know my priorities. Actually, it is deep reflection. You need to reflect to say, what are my top 3 priorities? What are my top 5 priorities? And again, when you say top priority number 1, there should be only one thing at priority number 1. You can't say, I want to do this and this and this, and all these 3 are my top priorities, priority number 1. No. Out of the 3, if you could do only one thing, what is that one thing? So that's your priority number 1. Number 2, number 3, maybe max of 5. Identify those priorities, and that should be holistic. Not only your career priorities, it has to be, your family priorities. It has to be your me time priorities. I want to take care of my health, so fitness is a priority. I want to take care of my family, so I want to cook at home and give nutritious meals to my family. I want to ensure that I get my promotion in the next 2 years. So that's priority. So 1, 2, 3, prioritize. And then use this beautiful tool called as Google Calendar, or any other calendar that you wish to use. And ensure that on a daily and a weekly basis in your calendar, you have all of these priorities put in. So if you want to have a fitness goal, ensure that it is put in the morning. If you want to run, you want to do yoga or whatever you want to do, a half-an-hour slot is there and it is non-negotiable. If you want to have some me time for yourself, which is the reading of a book or catching a series on TV, ensure that you have blocked your time for that, 7 to 7:30 every day. And then you respect that calendar of yours. There's no point in having it in the calendar, and the minute there is somebody saying that, come on, Neeraja, can you take this meeting at 7 o'clock? And I'm saying, yeah, let me just forget this for today. Then you're not going to have, a holistic life. And then you will complain that, if you have to focus on career, you can't give time to family. So let me decide what I want to focus on. You respect your career, you respect your calendar unless and until it is such an exigency, such an emergency that you have to let go of it, you will not let go of it. If you're able to manage your time, you will be able to achieve everything. That's my, answer to that question.
Thank you, Neeraja, for sharing your insight and knowledge. I'm sure our audience will benefit through this.
Thank you.
Let me read out the next question that we have from our audience. What is purpose of having a goal and how can one set a goal?
Oh, that's a big question. But it is important to have a goal. If you do not have a goal, and I think that is also one of the missions of Aspire for Her, right? We want girls to have very intentional careers. I told you my story. So in my story, my father had very clearly said that when the guy comes, and if he says you will stop studying, if he says you will not work, you will not. So I said, okay, we'll figure it out. But I think I was lucky enough in some ways, and I found ways to manage things around it. I wasn't very intentional about my career. I kind of, thought that when I get married, I will quit, or when I have my baby, I will quit. But I never quit for 25 years, right? So I managed to achieve what I achieved. But you need to be very intentional about what you want to do in life. If not, if life had not been that good to me, I may have, had to take a break much early on, and I may not necessarily have had this kind of a life and a career. Saying that I would have had to quit the career doesn't mean I would have had a great life, right? Like as somebody said yesterday, I think it was Sudhamurthy, you need to have both, and you need to kind of balance both. So be very intentional. And how do you find a goal? I think in my language, I would say, what are you passionate about? Think about what is it that really is meaningful and purposeful for you. And towards that, you kind of build your career aspirations, your goals for life, and then break it down into, okay, fine, if I want to achieve it and it's going to take me 5 years to achieve it, let me break it down into smaller milestones, because 5 years is very far away and there will be 100 other things that will come your way to jeopardize that whole journey. So break it down into smaller goals. Like I have also written an article on this, visualizing your goal, right? So I used to forever think that I want to go on stage and I want to speak. But I was never a girl like that. I was a very quiet, timid, shy girl. I never spoke for the first 10 years of my career. I didn't even say hi to the person who used to sit next to me in the office. I was that kind. I would have my lunch all by myself because I was so scared to talk. I would have my chai all by myself. Came home and I was happy with that. But I had this thing in me that I should go up and on the stage and speak, because when I used to hear those speakers, it used to mesmerize me, and I used to think, will I be able to do? Can I be able to do it? And I started visualizing myself doing it. And in doing that, you can't just say, okay, fine. It's not a dream, right? That Neeraja on stage. I actually visualize every step towards that. So, okay, I'm on stage. What am I going to wear on that stage, right? So, I visualize myself in that sari. What is the topic that I'm going to speak about? So I visualize myself with a particular topic. Then how do I prepare for that? So in my head, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, I started kind of, preparing that talk, assuming that, I'm speaking that. I'm going to give that talk on the stage. And then I thought of all the blocks that will come my way. I may have stage fear. I may freeze on stage. So how do I, overcome that? And that is n number of rehearsals. I told you that I've done about 60 plus talks in the last 6 months. But even before I came and gave this talk today, I've done 2 rehearsals. My family has been very clearly said, yesterday night for 1 hour and today for 1 hour, locked myself in the room. I have rehearsed every word of this. Okay. So you've got to break down your big goal into smaller milestones, achievable milestones, and then work towards that. Visualize the successes, but also act. And the time to act is now. Most of us, what we do, okay, I think I'll do it tomorrow. Today, there's such a big problem. So, let me do it tomorrow. What you can achieve today, you achieve that. Maybe you're not able to achieve this entire, 1 hour talk. Maybe you're able to just think of 2 lines that you can speak. But that is also a good enough achievement. And over a period of time, if not in 5 years, maybe after 6 years, or maybe you will fast track in 3 years, you will achieve your goals. So that's what I would like to say for that. But be very intentional about your careers. Very, very, very. Without which you might not get as lucky as I was. It went the way that it has gone. But you have to be very, very clear about what is it that you want, what careers you want to choose. If you don't know where to go and find this knowledge, of course, Aspire for Her has got enough and more career previews. There are enough and more mentors. So you have to go seek this out, speak to them, read up about it and say, okay, fine, if I have to reach there, these are some of the things that I need to do.
Thank you for this wonderful insight, ma'am, and thank you for leaving us with some thoughtful and valuable suggestions. Thank you, Neeraja, for being with us for this event and for inspiring us. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Roshni. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Neeraja, since we have another 10 minutes, would you mind, there is one very important question which has come from the audience, and I see
Sure.
3 people have repeated the same question. So would you mind, taking up one more question for us?
Surely, why not? Yeah.
You did mention that women should chase their dream and they should live their dream, right? What are the 2 to 3 important skills to help them chase their dream? So could you, throw some
Yeah,
insight?
sure, sure. I think conviction is very important. Somebody has said, right? How badly do you want to achieve that? That's a question that you need to ask for yourself. So I want to go on stage and speak. It's a nice thing to, dream about. But how badly do I want it? If it's like it's a nice to have, I think there itself, it goes down the drain. Unless and until there is a compelling reason and you are convinced that I want to do this and I will do that. So that conviction is extremely important for you to be able to chase your dreams. The second, of course, is the self-confidence that I can do it, regardless of whoever says whatever. And that's why I said it has to be your dream. It cannot be somebody else's. And while I say that, majority of us actually chase somebody else's dream. Starting from school days, okay, fine. What do you want to study? You finish your 10th standard. Majority of us say science because, that's what it is. Engineering because, the large population does that. Nothing against engineering. I mean, do it if that is what you want to do it, but not because the rest of the world seems to be doing that. So what is your dream? Articulate that for yourself. It can be very hard, it can be very different from the rest of the world, but doesn't matter. Even if people are laughing at you, it doesn't matter because it is your dream and you are convinced and you want to make it happen at any cost. And the third, obviously, I will say, don't try to be a superwoman. Ask for help. You cannot do it all and you don't need to do it all. And when I say ask for help 360 degrees. It doesn't have to be, only at work, also at home. It doesn't have to be only, I will put 2 extra maids in the house. What happens when there's a lockdown and no maids are allowed? Ask for help from your spouse, from your in-laws, from your parents, from your neighbor, from your child. And delegate, and you see how you will be able to, reach those dreams.
Amazing. It was indeed a delightful session. And I thank you for proposing a perfect skills for women so that they can chase their dream and live their dream. Thank you very much, Neeraja.
My
We wish
pleasure.
to see you back once again, not online, probably offline with us here at VTU and have a session or a discussion with the students.
Surely. Look forward. Someday that will happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Roshni,
you
for
all.
moderating the entire session.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to thank Roshni as well for all the hard work she's put in.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Neeraja.